In the previous video, we took a look at the item object class properties that you can find information about in the documentation for the ArcGIS API for Python. In this video, we're going to take a look at the JSON properties for an item object that we can access when we convert the item object to a dictionary. So let's check it out. Open up the item JSON properties.py script from the content item folder. At the top of this script, we are going to import the JSON module from the standard Python library. And this will just allow us to print properties to screen in a more readable fashion. We first access ArcGIS Online, and we'll assign the calling of our GIS class to a variable called AGOL. We're then going to access our GIS object and the content manager and use the get method and supply in our feature service item ID, which I'm going to paste in now. We'll assign the calling of the get method to a variable called item. The get method will return an item object of our feature service. We're going to convert or cast the item object to a dictionary. Now, if you remember from a previous video, when we print the item object as a variable to screen, we get the following. But if we take a look at this documentation snippet, the basis for an item object is a dictionary. So I'm going to create a variable called item properties and cast the item object to a Python dictionary. I'm then going to use the json.dumps method and supply in the item properties dictionary and print that with an indent of 4. So let's run this script and take a look at what that looks like. The script is complete and I'll scroll up the top. We can see here we have a property called ID, and when we created our empty feature service, we accessed the item object and printed this ID to screen. This is the one I recommended to copy and paste into a notepad. We can see the owner of the item is final draft mapping. That's my username. We have the org ID. The date it was created as an ArcGIS Online epoch. There's a link below this video that shows you how to convert those into a more readable date format. You can see the last time it was modified. The name of feature service. This is the name in the URL. And the title. This is the one that's editable on the home page for the item content in ArcGIS Online. It is of type feature service that we printed out in a previous video. ArcGIS Online created some type keywords for us. We see our description that we set when created the item. We have our tags, our summary. The link to our thumbnail is stored. The original extent that we set when creating the feature service item, and various other properties that are available from the JSON returned from the item object. If I scroll down, we can see that layers and tables is null. We have no layers or tables in our feature service. Now, the layers and tables here can be a bit of an anomaly, that even when we do have layers and tables, this will still return as an empty list, I believe, but we'll recheck that when we do add layers and tables. Now, as we have seen, we can access these properties using dot notation, and we saw this with the ID and the type. So here I'm going to access the item object title property, ID, type, extent, layers, is org item, and item control. I'm going to use dot notation as you would with the properties that we saw in the previous video. So you can access the class properties and the JSON properties with dot notation. I'll run the script and we can see we printed the title, we printed the item ID, item type, the extent, which was returned as a list of lists. Our layers, we got an empty list. It is true that it is an organization item, and the item control is admin. If you need more information on the is.org item or item control, there are links up the top here. But let me advise that finding information on each entry from the JSON properties can be quite difficult. Make sure to continue on to the next video in this series, and also make sure to subscribe. Take care.